All right, we're going to take a look at the 1.5 homework, the product rule. Don't forget that for the product rule, I do want you to actually take the time to label U and DU and V and DV, and then really it becomes very formulaic. Now, like we discussed in class, so let's take a look at this first one. Like we discussed in class, and like I just said, take the time to pick out the U value, take the time to pick out the V value, the DV value. Our good rule of thumb is if we see more than one variable and no pluses or minuses, it's probably a product or a quotient rule. And then from there, it really becomes using the rules that we've learned in sections 1, 2, and 3, and then combining them into the product rule. So for this first one, I see t cubed, I see t. I don't see any addition or subtraction between them. Like I mentioned before, some people take the time to maybe split it up with a dotted line, or they even take the time to just go right ahead and put parentheses around things. It really is up to you. But my u value is t cubed, making my du value 3t squared. My v value is cosine of t, making my dv value negative sine of t. And then I can start finding my value. U times dv plus v times du. And then I do just a little bit of simplifying. T cubed times the negative 1. I move the 3t squared to the front, and I've got my answer. Number 2, again, some people like to put a little dotted line, some people put parentheses, but I am asking you at the beginning here to label your u value. In this case, it's x. Du value then is 1. V value is e to the negative x squared. We know the derivative of e to a power is e to that power all over again. And then I've got to finish my chain rule. The derivative of negative x squared is negative 2x. And then I just start using my product rule. U times dv plus v times du. If you don't bother to write the 1 there, that's okay. We do just a little bit of simplifying. My x times negative 2x gets me negative 2x squared, and I've got my answer. Number 4, pick my u value. In this case, it's x, which means its derivative is 1. Very similar to the last one, my v value is e to a power. In this case, it's 2x. The derivative of e to the 2x power is e to the 2x times the derivative of 2x, which is just 2. And then again, I've got my u times dv plus v times du. And I do just a little bit of simplifying. X times 2 for my first term. Number 5 involves 2 separate chain rule situations. Since my u value is e to the negative 5x, I know the derivative of e to a power is e to that exact same power all over again, and then I take the derivative of that power. Second term, v, is cosine of 3x. I know the derivative of cosine is always negative sine. In this case, it was negative sine of 3x, and the derivative of 3x is 3. From there, I use my product rule, u times dv plus v times du. And I have just a little bit of simplifying to do. Negative 3 times e to the negative 5x. I move my negative 5 e to the negative 5x up front. Notice I changed it from addition to subtraction because of that. Number 7, again, I haven't mentioned in the last few examples. I see 2 variables. I don't see any kind of addition or subtraction between them. There's a good chance it's a product or quotient rule. From there, I've picked my u value as x cubed, found its derivative. My v value is secant of x, its derivative. And then I've got my derivative, u times dv plus v times du. And really, outside of moving the 3x squared to the front of secant, there's not much more work to do in this one. 15, I do see addition and subtraction, but by the time I get to here, I can tell that it's multiplication because that polynomial was inside a set of parentheses. U value is the polynomial, v value is e to the x. The derivative of my polynomial, 2x minus 2, derivative of e to a power is always e to that power, times the derivative of that power. If I were to continue, I know the derivative of x is 1. That's why I didn't write anything in the first case. And then as I write my u times dv plus v times du, there really isn't much more I can do. There really isn't anything that says e to the x needs to be in front of the polynomial or behind the polynomial. So really any kind of way you write your answer is fine. 23, again, I see 2 variables. I can tell that x is being multiplied by square root of x. There's no addition or subtraction between x and the square root, so this is going to be a product rule. My u value is x, its derivative is 1. My v value is square root of 4 minus x. So I used the shortcut, the derivative of what's inside the square root over 2 times the original square root. And then I've got to do just a little bit of simplifying for that negative 2 and 2. So I'm going to end up using negative x over 4 minus x squared. From there, as usual, u times dv plus v times du. And then it's just a matter of doing a little bit of simplifying. X times negative x gets me the negative x squared over square root 4 minus x squared. Obviously, if we're multiplying by 1, that's not changing anything. We could take the time to get common denominators, but typically we don't. All right, so that's the end of the 1.5 homework. Hopefully this helped. If it didn't, feel free to ask questions in class, and see you soon.